everybody. Appreciate everybody being here this morning. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will call the roll, please.
Master Combs.
Here.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Buckin.
Here.
Judge Taylor.
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite Brother Ed Cortez from Gethsemane Baptist Church to come up and lead us in a word of prayer.
Sure.
Thanks.
Father, as we bow before your presence, we acknowledge you as the supreme judge. The psalmist said you are the judge that puts up and puts down. And Father, we thank you for these that have been elected into office. Father, we understand that you're not the author of confusion, but the God of order. And so, Father, we thank you for this day in which the business to be carried out for the community. Lord, you have elected these officials to be placed to look into the best interest of the community, of the people. Lord, we pray that you will help them to understand as good stewards to use their time, their management, and use their ability to serve this community and to serve you. Father, we ask your blessings, and Father, I just pray that your spirit here would just bring about order and carry out the business for this community. In Jesus Christ's name we pray, and amen.
Amen. Thank you. At this time, everybody rise. Sheriff, if you don't mind leading the pledge.
Would face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Sheriff. This time, y'all have had a chance to look over the minutes from last meeting. I need a motion and a second, please.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Should be right there.
Master Combs.
Well, I like to read them before I approve them, but I can't find it. Is your laptop coming in? Maybe it's, I'm sure you.
Well, no, I moved them in there on Thursday after the last meeting and made sure they were there.
Well, I'm sure they'll be okay. I'll vote yes.
I mean, I've got a copy
Okay,
here.
where's your minutes?
I don't know why it's not.
It's not coming up.
So has no one had an opportunity to review them?
I did,
I've seen them.
but Larry's right. They're not on.
They're not showing on my Dropbox.
They're not on Dropbox.
No.
It says no preview available, but they're there.
So, Roger, did you have an opportunity to look at them?
No.
So the judge and John?
Yes, we had a paper copy.
And then you as well, Tom?
Yes.
I guess you still have, enough motion second, and then you have 3 people that have reviewed them. So if it's accurate, you all can so move. And if Larry and Roger, if you all aren't comfortable because you've not read them yet, you can abstain, and they'll still carry 3 to.
What happens if we wait till everybody reads them?
Well, you could do that as well, but if you've got folks that have read them and they're comfortable approving, you can go ahead and do that as well.
But you're gonna have a majority anyway.
Yeah.
You want to abstain, Larry?
Abstain,
Abstain?
Master Tudor.
yes.
Master Buckin.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Treasurer's report will be at the next meeting. First order of business is to approve, ask the court for the approval for the FEMA request for public assistance. This is where we've had the flooding, and I would just like the court's permission for me to go into agreement with FEMA on funds that we'll be getting back for damaged roadways, bridges, and things like that.
And we don't know the amount yet.
We do not know, no, we do not know what amount yet.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Call the roll, please.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Tudor.
Yes.
Master Buckin.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next is the approval of Madison County property tax rate. And
The applicant agent paperwork that needs to be done to that resolution.
is that not part of the approval?
No, you need to do that as a separate name of your applicant agent.
You want to get up at the mic, Glenn, and then explain this to the court, please?
Okay, the paperwork that they've FEMA has sent us is just your normal memorandum of agreement, which lists, I think it listed out at 25 million. It's for the entire state, but every county that has any damage has to go into agreement with that same agreement with the state. But there's also a paperwork where each county needs to list what they call an applicant agent. in the past, when we had the storms a few years ago, I was listed as the applicant agent. I suggested to Colleen and the judge that the judge be listed as applicant agent because he actually sees everything that comes through and signs off on it from FEMA. All the agreements, everything like that. And basically, an applicant agent is just who from your county is going to sign off on the FEMA paperwork. So I think that does need to be done as a resolution.
Okay, but are our resolutions normally not numbered?
Print it.
Yes, you should
Can-
be to 1511, I think, or 1512. Kenny, I'm not sure. 12, is it 12? Yeah, I think 1512.
Okay.
I make a motion that we designate Judge Taylor as our applicant agent.
Second.
And this will be resolution 1512. Any discussion, any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckton?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is the approved Madison County property tax rate. And Glenn, I'm gonna ask you to come back up, because I want you to help me and make sure the court understands on the tangible personal property that it's actually going down a little bit.
Yes.
Due to, I think Larry said probably because of the population when we discussed it earlier, but
Yes, there's a formula. Once you all decide what you're gonna take, the compensating or the 4%, which you all are proposing the compensating, which is 8.3, which is exactly what it was before. You have to plug that compensating rate into a formula to come up with your tangible rate. And when that formula comes out, it's at 9.267.
yep, that's exactly right.
And it was at 10. So we only bring in around 300,000 in tangible anyway. So when you take that difference, it's about $2,000. But that's not taking into account there could be new tangibles. So it doesn't mean we're necessarily going to lose $2,000. If we had exactly the same amount of tangibles as last year, we would have a reduction of $2,000. But other than that, you know, we're probably not going to have the same exact amount of tangibles. We
Okay.
should be fine.
And so when we vote on this, do we need to vote on these amounts?
On the rates, I think, is that right? On the
So the
9.267 and the 8.3.
That's right. And then the optional taxes, which is the aircraft, the watercraft, transit.
Yes.
Will be on a separate vote. The motor vehicle, yeah, okay. So, real estate is 8.3, the tangible personal property would be 9.267.
What did 8.3 bring in last year? Do you know roughly? Normally we
It
get
was-
a,
it was like-
and I asked the judge about this earlier before we started. Normally we get a sheet and it tells you, you know, how much you took in last year and what you take in this year, and then it shows you the compensating rate. And then if you
Yes, I
want-
don't have that paperwork in front of me. Do you have that paperwork?
Is this what,
It doesn't have the total number on, all it has is the 8.3.
No, there's the other sheet. Do you have the whole package?
yeah,
Yeah, he's got the whole package. Just looking at it.
I think last year we took in like 3.7,
Yeah.
but I think that might have been total.
Yeah. (2014) revenue is showing at 3.540, and the 2015 is at 3,594,000. So you're basically talking about 14 was 3,540,155. 2015 revenues 3,594,496. Trying to make sure that's a 5 or a 6.
940 would. That's 54,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Approximately.
No more than what that is, this is just Larry Combs talking. No more than what that is, with the county school board taking the increase that they're taking, the real community school board taking what they're taking. I don't know why we can't lower that from 8.3 to 8.2, we'd still be taking in the same amount of money. And give the people a break. Nobody else will, we can.
It's a difference of
54,000.
54,000, if I'm reading
You
this
just
right.
talked about a tenth. Wouldn't that be 35,000?
What'd you say?
Wouldn't a tenth be like 35,000? We can still lower it, take in a little extra, not much. I'm just trying, here's my problem with setting a tax rate. The biggest problem is when you set a tax rate, anyone that doesn't own a home or property in Madison County pays nothing. If you rent from somebody else, they don't pay nothing. That guy that furnishes that apartment or house or whatever, he pays it all. Well, that's about 50%, or maybe a little less, than all the property in Madison County is owned by a certain group. So all we're doing is taxing that group and not taxing everybody else. I mean, I know they pay taxes on other things, don't get me wrong. But I just think this is a way that we can give those people a small break. It's not a lot, but, $5 is $5.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me is the long-term effect of that. Taxes haven't been raised in the county, under my understanding,
They have.
in a long, long, long time. And it was fine when the big building boom was going on, because you were generating a lot of extra revenue through property taxes, because you didn't have any expenditures in all the infrastructure that was going in with new subdivisions, new developments. All right, but now, 10 years later, you didn't raise any property taxes. You've got a lot of extra roads, you got a lot of extra infrastructure that you're taking on, and it's costing us, I don't know how much that we've already been back to Waterford, I know, because that would have been an example of a new development, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that you're generating all these extra property taxes on. But we're going back now and fixing culverts, because blacktops caving in around culverts. And so my only concern there is what are we going to do to keep all that infrastructure up? I don't want to raise taxes. It's the last thing I want to do. But I don't know if it's smart for us to lower them.
I look at it from the standpoint of the winter that we had after the first year.
Mhm.
And the overtime we paid out, how far did that $54,000 go? I mean, you might not have an overtime like that next year. You may have one that's worse than what we had this year. $54,000 is a lot of money to anybody. But when it's spread out over the county, and for what we've had to be out for the 8 months that this year's into, it's been expensive. And like the judge said, I'm not for increasing taxes, but we do have to pay the bills.
Would you say the difference would be something like 30-some thousand, Glenn, from
The difference
Would be
between
35.
8.2 and 8.3 is about 45,000.
about $45,000? I'm not for raising taxes, but divide 45,000 over, you probably got 45,000 people paying property taxes. That's not gonna be that much. So I move to accept the rate as proposed.
Need a second?
Yep.
Second.
Is there any more discussion?
What do you think, Tom?
Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bucking,
Yes.
Master Combs,
No.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next is the motor vehicles tax rate. So this is your watercraft, aircraft, and transit, and it will be at 10 cents. It says 10 cents per 100. So I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Bodkin,
Yes.
Master Cone,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Chris, if you want to come up, next on the agenda is, we want to go over an overview, and then we'll actually vote to approve the copier service contract. But I want y'all to sort of hear how we came up with, and what our idea behind it is. But our goal that we sort of set out was that in county government, we had several different contracts for copiers in each different department. Instead of having one contract for, let's say, 15 copiers, we had 15 contracts for 15 different copiers. And we had no buying power that way. We had no negotiation power that way. And so we put bids out for different companies to supply us copiers, and this is what came out of it. I don't know if y'all, this is on Dropbox. But Chris, if you want to sort of give us a breakdown of how we came out, how much potential monies that we're saving by doing this.
Yep. As you can see there were 4 different companies that bid. 2 of these companies are places we already use, Commonwealth Technology and Konica Direct. Those are the 2 places that service a majority of the county copy machines, except for the exception of EMA and 911. They used a different vendor who did not bid in this process. As you can see on that lengthy spreadsheet there, it's kind of hard to discern what would be your best value when you start clicking through there, because they're all basically pretty much the same when you look at the per-click charge. The per-click charge is what we pay every time a user prints a document to the copy machine. What that does is that covers all the maintenance on the machine and all the toner that goes. Everything but consumables. Consumables is paper and toner, or not paper and staples. So this contract, when you pay the per-click charge, pays for all the toner, all the maintenance, the drums, anything like that. So when you look through there, it's kind of hard to see. We received bids from a company called ProSource, Commonwealth Office Technology, which basically put in 2 different bids, Duplicator Sales and Services, and then Konica Direct. Colleen and I spent quite a bit of time trying to crunch the numbers and figure out what was going to end up being the best value. What we ended up coming with was Commonwealth Technology was probably our best value. And the reason for that is if you look at it, they offered a Konica bid and a Kyocera bid. The Kyocera has an option called Tricolor. The Tricolor option allows us to pay a different rate based on the amount of color that's actually printed on the page. So if you look at a lot of the things that county government prints, most people are printing a color logo or a seal of some sort in the top left-hand corner or in the center to make it look like an official document. What that was doing is in planning and development, they were paying 9 cents for color copy. So every time they printed that form with the blue county seal on it, you're paying 9 cents to print it. What this Kyocera option gives us is breakdown, 0 to 4, 5 to 10, and then above. So if you look at it, it's in the Dropbox. It's hard to explain, but based on the amount of color on that page, you get a different rate. So if planning and development prints just that blue logo on that form, you're no longer going to pay 9 cents. You're going to pay, I think, 0.035 or 33.
0.03.
0.03. So that's what you're going to pay for the color click. Now, when you get to a full color page, you actually pay a little more than you would pay in some of these other vendors, but that's because they're giving you a break on it. So when we actually ran the numbers and tried to figure out how much we were going to end up with full color pages, probably the person that prints the most full color pages is planning, because they're printing plats or they're printing maps to go and file those things, so they're full color. But the large portion of the users are printing small amounts of color on the page. And we also like the fact that the equipment will be a little bit cheaper on the pocketbook at the end of the day. We use a lot of Konica machines now, except for EMA and 911. They're using Canon machines, which they will fall under this agreement as well, and they'll move. So our suggestion is to use Commonwealth Technology and the Kyocera product. What we're looking for today is just to approve the service rate. So we will go through and pull all of the departments, Konica copy machines into this contract at the .0065 per black and white click and .0045 for the black. And then the judge and I and Colleen will get with all the departments. We're trying to find a funding mechanism to pay for some of these copy machines, because as you see, the bulk of them are what we call a level 1 black and white, which is a $5,000 machine, $5,484. We're looking at some options of whether CSEP can help us pay for those, because there's employees printing to them and those sorts of things. And we didn't really budget money to purchase $5,000 copy machines. So basically what we're doing here is lowering our per click charge to help us save some money. When I ran the numbers, it looks like it's going to be somewhere about $5,000 a year in savings. And that's just our departments. That doesn't include Kenny or anybody else. Kenny already uses Commonwealth Technology and already has his copy machines underneath the contract, but he'll be allowed to pull his contract into our same pricing. That was the goal. We wanted to come out as county government, bid it, said we've got all these agencies that have copy machines. They said, okay, sure, we'll give you the rate. So now we'll go to Kenny and all these other places and start pulling them into our contract so that they can receive the benefit as well. So when you start adding them in there, we could be talking $8,000, $10,000 a year in savings. So this really was beneficial to put this out and finally get some buying power with these companies instead of having individual contracts with it. If you looked at, I think it's in there if you want to read it. I think Glenna was paying like 0.5 or 0.6 and Planning was paying 0.09. I mean, it was all over the board. And they based it on the time of machine. So Commonwealth's going to offer us a good option of new equipment with the tricolor printing, which is going to save some money. They have a full staff of 4 people that service EKU, and they're on campus all day long. So if we really have a major issue, they'd be willing to pull somebody over to help us out if we have a machine go down. So that really became the best value, was to use Commonwealth Technology.
Well, look, KLC, or the purchase price on that, are you gonna purchase this, or?
The judge and I talked about leasing or purchasing. We did get leased pricing, but we felt at the end of the day, it's kind of like leasing a car. By the time you get to 3, 4, 5 years out, the machine's not worth it anymore to pay it out, so you're better off just to pay for it. We could probably sell the equipment at some point after 5 years to somebody else, or we just recycle it and move on. The lease price just, I don't remember what the math was at this point. It's been so many weeks.
$90,744.
Yeah, it's been, it's not
Actually,
advantageous
it's
to
cheaper
lease.
than the other one.
Yes.
On both ways.
Yep. And like 911 is leasing a contract, or leasing a copier on a contract that costs them $300, and don't hold me to
Is
this.
that $2,700 a month?
No. No, you purchase the copy machine
No, I'm saying if you lease.
if you lease it. No, the lease price on this machine was like $155 a month. So we multiply, that's a 3-year contract. So I'm not good at math. I'll let you do math.
$2,757.
It wouldn't be cheaper to lease it than it would to purchase it.
Well, that's what,
5,180.
Yeah, $5,580. It's $500 more to lease it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's actually, you're paying just a little bit of interest to.
We've purchased our machine straight out to save the interest charge, and we aren't heavy users, so we're not putting, if you go into a vehicle, we're not putting a lot of miles on them, so they're
Yeah, and the
still
current
good.
copy machine that's the busiest is the judge's office, and it's probably 9 years old, 8, somewhere. And
Our stuff lasts a lot longer.
yeah, we really don't have a lot of usage, so we're looking at an 8 to 10 year purchase here. We're not looking at a 3 or 5. So really, if you're going to lease it for 3, at the end of the 3 years, you're going to have to buy it out. You know, what's that price going to be? So this is a straight up purchase. Now, 911 may lease theirs because that's just how their budget rolls, and they're heavy, heavy, heavy users, somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,000 to 10,000 prints a month. 3 years is about all you're going to get out of it. So that's a great place to lease it. And it works into their thing. But they're paying about $314 or $320 a month to lease their current copy machine, because their current contract gives them, say, 20,000. You get 20,000 copies a month. I don't think that's the number, but they give them a generic set of copies included in the lease. Well, the thing is, if they're not using that many copies, they're paying for it. So this model actually gets you to pay for the machine, and you only pay for what you use. So there's going to be a significant savings to them as well. And then we still have negotiating with EMA whether they want to lease theirs or purchase theirs. That's kind of another different animal. But
But right now, we're not talking about buying any machines. so.
Not today, no.
Yeah.
Today will be just the service.
That's right. It's just getting our click charges of what our actual per day costs are from, I think color copies were roughly 9 cents. They're gonna be going down to 5 cents.
Yep.
I think, black and whites were what?
0.05, and we're going to 0.0065.
6, yeah. It was about a half a penny savings, I think, per
Per
black
click.
and white.
Yep.
Yeah. So, this is something that'll come back up later because we don't have funds in our budget to purchase.
Except for the animal shelter.
Right, for them.
The animal
except for the
shelter's machine will be purchased under the price. I don't think I listed it in there, but it will be purchased. Oh, yeah, I did. There's, will be $1,655 is what we'll purchase, and it's a low-end black and white machine only. And the reason we decided to buy that low-end machine for them was because animal shelter has a lot of moisture in it and a lot of different things that dog hair, pet dander, you go on with it, that will ruin those machines, and it's done it time and time again out there. So we decided to let them eat the burden, right? We'll go out there and service a machine, that way they have to go out and maintain the rollers when they get wet and those kinds of things. So that's a better value for us to let them have one. So there's actually money in the budget for that. Some of the other departments we decided not to buy them a service machine, we decided just to buy them a standard business level multi-function machine like the fire department and those kinds of things, because we didn't feel like spending $1,700 on a service machine was the best value in paying certain click charges because they print so little. So we'll be buying basic machines there, and the money's in the budget for those, and there's money in the budget for the animal shelter copy machine. And then we will move forward if we can find mechanisms to pay for the other 3. But basically today, you're just approving the per click charge to enter into a contract, and then once we enter the contract, we'll buy our machines from them. They don't really make their money from the machine anyways, they make their money from the service. So it's not like they actually told me they would hold this pricing that's bid in here to whenever we're ready. It won't change, so. But really, you probably didn't see that amount of significant savings in the equipment anyways. It's in the click charge.
Will this standardize our machines across the county?
Yep. As soon as we're done, it will. Right now, everybody's using Konica, but at a different servicing company. We'll pull them in as Konica machines under the Konica contract, and then when we buy new, we'll buy a Kyocera, and we'll pass that across the board. The smaller end machines that we're not servicing, we're gonna buy the same equipment, because right now we don't have that. Like you said, you may have a Lexmark sitting there, and an HP sitting over here, and a Brother over here. So all of the county departments, we either have a Kyocera machine or whatever brand machine I go buy for the small end at the end
Can
of the
we
day.
recoup any money, Chris, from their old machines when we?
We're gonna look at maybe selling them on Gov Deals, which is an online auction for governments. I don't know what you'll get out of them. It's just.
Yeah, we tried to get them to take our machines in
Yeah.
on trade, but they,
Yeah, they didn't like that. We
They-
tried
they
to get
weren't
them to trade them
interested.
in.
Yeah.
But really, there's no value in them once they're done. They may scrap them for parts, but we just use them far too long for them to be valuable.
Do we have to maintain repair parts or anything like that?
Not on the copy machines, nope. That's all included on the per click charge.
Do they have a time frame for repairs?
I believe it was 4 hours was what was in the thing.
Response time?
Yeah, and if they don't repair it, there's, I don't remember exact verbiage, they will have to bring us a loaner.
I'm sorry,
They'll
one more
have to bring a
time?
loaner after, if they determine they can't fix it within so many hours, they'll bring us a piece of equipment to put in there to use while they fix whatever's wrong with it. That's only happened one time in 10 years since I've been here, and that was at planning, and that was just bad management on the current vendors. It was down 2 weeks. It should have been about 4 days in. It should have been like, yeah, bring me another machine. So, yes, all that is in the contract. I don't remember the exact verbiage of how many hours, but it's standard for all of them. So they remain maintenance them completely. Only thing we're responsible for is paper and staples.
Commonwealth's been one of the best vendors I've ever dealt with in government or private. They really do a good job, and I've been with them 3 years now. And they stock. Other companies don't want to stock the parts, they want to order the part after it breaks. Commonwealth's got stuff in Lexington, they'll bring it right over and put it in. And like Chris said, they've got 4 techs at Eastern, and then they have a tech that lives in Richmond and works in Lexington. So at night, he can bring parts back over and that kind of thing. It's really
I'm
worked
glad
out
you
well.
said that, because typically my experience with equipment like that is that when your machines are new, or 1 or 2 years old, 3 years old even, everybody stock parts. But when they get on the bottom end of that, and we're buying the machines at 4 and 5 years, then nobody wants to keep those parts, because we're the only one that use them. They want you to buy new machines.
And we're really getting the best out of this deal, because if we keep these machines 4 or 5 years, that's when the costs start to go up. if you're leasing these machines and turn them out every 3 years, well, you're paying that service that you're not really getting because the thing never breaks.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of these, life of these machines, really where we're gonna make our money back on this service.
And we've got one that, well, front sets and the plantings are about the same. They're about 9 years old, and we haven't had a single issue trying to get parts for them. So they keep the larger, I don't know, there's probably some, some law that says they have to keep those parts for so long, but we haven't run into an issue where they didn't have toner or a drum or anything that we needed to repair the machine. And I think it even says in there, if at some point we decide that it doesn't work, they'll replace it with something like. We'd have to read and the judge and I'll go over the contract specifically for those kinds of things.
When we were running the numbers, it just didn't make sense to me to lease them, especially with, past history of like ours in our office, 8 or 9 years old. I mean, it didn't, unless you just want them a brand new machine every 3 years, it didn't make sense financially.
Yeah, and there's not much that's really changing from year to year. Technology does change often, but there's not something that warrants that we need to do it every 3. It just doesn't seem smart to do a lease and get something new, except for 911 where they do just bury that thing in copies and prints. That it just makes good sense, because at the end of the 3 years, it's pretty much worn out. We don't have, I think the total volume of prints was somewhere around 17,000 prints per month across all 14 departments. So that, 911's print 10,000 just themselves. So you can see the usage is going to vary slightly there, but.
That would be the only concern that I have about it, and I know that you have a lot of experience, but having been a maintenance officer, I know that the repair parts are the big issue, and so is the response times and the service contracts.
Yep.
If you say it's good, I'm taking your word for it.
Very good. Any other questions, concerns?
No. At this time, I just need a motion and a second to approve the copier service contract.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Guys, next is the second reading of ordinance 1510, which is Madison County Ethics Code. I don't know if y'all have any questions or concerns about it. We got the ethics board started last month, and it was they would like this approved, and they actually meet tonight if anybody is interested in going.
I've read it, Judge. I'd just like to say that there was a lot of alignment in that to go with the administrative code, and I think it's pretty solid.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second?
Make a motion that we accept the second reading of the ethics code as it is.
Second.
Any more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is, I'd like the court's permission to appoint William Hicks to the Madison County Search and Rescue, as the Madison County Search and Rescue Coordinator. He is currently actually the coordinator, and I would like a reappointment, and his term would expire on August the 28th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is the appointment of a Madison County Utility Board member. This is a new appointment. This is D.H. Hill. He will be replacing Marty Sizemore, and his term will expire January 1st, 2018. His full name is Dillard H. Hill II, but he goes by D.H.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is just to get things straight at the golf course, I'm gonna read this employment modification to you so everybody understands. But Gary Vanderhoff is the pro shop manager, and at the last fiscal court meeting, the salary was corrected to reflect the legally required salary under the federal wage and hour law. This modification is an increase to the hourly rate of pay from $7.43 an hour to the salary increase of $9 an hour, which is $18,720. The justification for the pay increase is that Gary was hired part-time at below the federal minimum wage. He has been managing the daily operations of the golf course full-time. Previously, he was classified as a salary, which if we kept him salary, we would be required to pay him $23,662. Instead of keeping him salaried, we recommend going hourly and raising it to $18,720. And in the classifications, his position is one that can be hourly. And he is retired, and I'm not sure where from. I think it was Lexmark, maybe, or IBM. And so he will not be getting, benefits.
But he was offered the benefit.
Yes, he was offered the benefits, yeah. Yes. We have to do that. Yes.
Make a motion that we accept the change.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part, Judge. Did you say that he was hired in as hourly or salary?
He was hired in as salaried,
He was a part-time salary.
but he was a part-time.
But he was working over part-time hours, and his hours kept increasing over the last, he's been with us for several years. Hours kept increasing. When we went through and looked at hourly versus salary, he could go either way, but he would just as soon stay hourly at a $9 rate, which is better for us than to go salary, you have to be pension.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's aware of it, is what I was getting at.
Yes. Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is a recommendation by the road department to hire Mr. Henry Reeves as a truck driver. I think Mr. Reeves actually, he put in his letter of resignation maybe a month ago, Willie, I think. He got an opportunity to go work at a different place and got there, did not like it, I guess. And he actually came back, and it's their recommendation to actually hire him back. Mr. Reeves left on good terms of the county, was a great worker, and he will come back at a rate of $13.50 per hour. Begins work on September the 9th, 2015, with the standard 6 months probation hire period. And he works out at Road South. And that's where he'll stay, is that correct, Willie?
If Willie recommends him and says he's a good worker and we need him back, I move that we hire Mr. Reeves back at the South Department.
Second.
Any more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is Judge's Report. I do want to announce that Whitehall Park has reopened. There will be no activities with the lake, so there will be no fishing until April of 2016. We have actually blocked the lake off. We've posted signs to make everybody aware. I just felt like there was a little bit of danger, people trying to get down to the water level where it is now. We need to wait until the water level gets back up, and I feel like through the fall here and winter and spring that it'll be back up to where people can fish. But the park is open. It opened Friday at 4 o'clock, this past Friday at 4 o'clock, so the pavilion, the playground, the walking trails, all that is back open, and it looks really good out there. So, charitable contribution application. The applications went online August 3rd, and the deadline is September the 30th. So I just want to make that announcement, that September the 30th is the deadline for the charitable contributions application. Upcoming events: Richmond Area Arts Center Gala is Friday, September the 11th at 5:30 p.m. The CSEP community exercise will be held September the 15th and 16th. And then the tire collection, and I'm sure that Scott will be talking on that in a minute, will be held on September the 17th through the 19th. And then always remember the department information forms and employment opportunities and bidding for goods and services can be found on our website. So I encourage anybody that's looking for employment opportunity to get on our website at madisoncountyky.us. Oh, yes, and please, you know, we have a historic day coming up Friday, so everybody just maybe take a minute to just think of all the first responders and that everybody in 9/11 that maybe lost a life, lost family members. You know, even today, you know, it's still a hard day. It was tough on the United States, so I just encourage everybody to think of somebody. All right, Scott.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Mark, if you can pass those down for me, please, take one piece.
Yes, sir.
Everybody on the table. I've got some extras, excuse me, I've got some extras for everyone who's in the audience. It's the flyers for the two events that I'm going to talk about here briefly. Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a busy fall season at the Solid Waste Department. We've got 2 special events coming up here in the next 2 months, as well as road cleanups in the fall and our traditional activities. So let me get logged in here. Where to start at? The waste tire amnesty or waste tire disposal events coming up here on September 17th and 18th, or 17, 18, 19, like the judge said about. But I'm going to go back and look at some historical things with the waste tire program. This is the 2009 waste tire disposal event. During that time frame, that was the first waste tire event that I was part of. I took over solid waste in November of 2008, so we had this in June of 2009. During this 3-day event, we disposed of 65,000 PTEs, which are passenger tire equivalents. I've got that formula here on another slide, and I'll explain exactly what that means. In a nutshell, it means passenger tire equivalents. Not all tires are the same size. Tractor-trailer tire being an agricultural tire, what they do is you take the tons and you divide it and you come up with the passenger tire equivalent of, say, the car tire size. 2012, 3 years later, the event that was done in the fall, it's like September 22nd when that photo was taken in 2012. The 2012 waste tire disposal event took in 42,390 PTEs. So you can see we actually had a decrease in the 3-year span from 2009 to 2012. On a tradition, it's been on a 3-year span for the last 2 cycles. Before that, it was on a 5-year span. The Waste Tire Trust Fund, which pays for the events and the collection costs of the events, is actually the $1 tire retail fee that you pay when you purchase a new set of tires. That $4 goes into a fund that runs these events and other waste tire activities. I'll go back to what does the PTE mean. Passenger tire equivalent, you take the tons, you multiply it by 2,000, divide it by 20. An example of last time in 2012 when we had the waste tire disposal event, we had 423 tons. Multiply that by 2,000, divide it by 20, you come up with the 42,390 PTEs. And being at the event, it sure seemed like there was more than 42,390 tires, because it was a warm September day, and I don't know if any of y'all have ever had any experience unloading a tractor-trailer loaded tires. It can get quite laborsome and quite hot and quite messy as well. When that lot, on an average day, when we get done with that lot and it's cleaned up, there's just a sludge line all around the event area. So here's the advertisement that I distributed to you all. advertising the event on the 17th, 18th, and 19th from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We have 2 disposal locations. Kentucky State Highway Department, 2441 Lexington Road, or down here as well at 208 South Broadway in Berea. Everyone who's familiar with that, that is the former street department location down here in Berea. We are opening that facility there to accept only quantities of less than 25 tires. So we don't get too many down here in Berea. We want to be able to, they are transporting them back up to the Kentucky State Highway Department. I'll thank the city of Berea and as well as their street department for volunteering and helping out with the event and also helping with another location. One note, retailers and scrap yards are not eligible to drop off tires at these events. That is the state, Kentucky's Division of Waste Management's rules, and we have to follow their guidelines and their rules for this event. And one special note, anyone who has any quantities of 1,200 or more tires that they know that they're going to drop off, say like a tractor trailer load of passenger tires, you need to please call the solid waste office, and so I can schedule a time and give you a time during those 3 days to show up so we don't get overwhelmed. We'll have a lot of boots on the ground unloading tires with both the state's work crew cleanup crews, as well as the county work crew that comes out of the Madison County Detention Center to help us out as well. So, are there any questions about the waste tire event?
I appreciate your hard work on it.
Appreciate it.
I'm excited.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm also going to touch base on our household hazardous waste collection event. Earlier in the year, I was talking that the event was scheduled for Saturday, October 3rd. We had some scheduling conflict with the company that we use. Veolia Environmental Services is who is done the event for the past 5 years. They had scheduling conflict. One of the gentlemen that actually was getting married as part of the crew. So my calendar was open, so I pushed this back to Saturday, October 17th. And that'll be from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at our Road Department South location. And that's a typo in there. That should be 208 Clarksville, not 20. Okay? There is a copy of the flyer that will be run in the paper, as well as distributed on our media outlets for each city government on the announcements page on their, our channel 46, Richmond's channel 12. I'm not sure exactly what channel Berea's is. I'll go over some of the accepted items at the household hazardous waste collection. Automotive products, fertilizers, pesticides, oil-based paints, solvents and cleaners, mercury-containing equipment. Surprisingly, there still are a lot of mercury thermometers in the communities. People find them in the storage bin, or they find them in their kitchen or something. So we still see quite a bit of mercury coming in. Electronics as well as batteries. Batteries meaning rechargeable batteries or car batteries. Items not accepted at this year's event, and short list: latex paint, smoke detectors. Some of those smoke detectors are radiological, have a radiological component in it that our contractor cannot put in with the other household hazardous waste. Of course, tires at this event, ammunition or explosives, and any other radioactive materials, and foam insulation systems. Once again, this event is sponsored financially through the Division of Waste Management for a grant that the county fills out, and it is a 20% cost match on this event. They put up 80, we put up 20.
Scott, in those electronic equipment, is it TVs and computers and so forth?
Yes, computers, electronics, anything that basically will recycle in the electronic recycling process, anything with the board.
Is there any size limit to it or anything?
No, televisions, big screen TVs is probably about the biggest thing we see with that. And we also, we recycle electronics year-round through the solid waste office, at the solid waste office. But it also, when we advertise it at this event, it's kind of like, a lot of people like to bring it out during the event. So, and those will be recycled through stuff recycling out of Winchester. And just to show you a little bit about how the setup on the lot is, that's Road Department South. We will circle cars around the building. We kind of section off a stopping area there for people to pull up, and then the contractor will have staffs that unload the cars, as well as then they start to, someone pulls up like that and drops off some materials. They'll start going through it and classifying the materials that are dropped off. There's another example of some materials dropped off. I think that was probably 2 cars worth. And then the staff will go around and filter those into the different containers that each type of household hazardous waste is put in its own container. That being paints, solvents, degreasers, fertilizers, and chemicals are all put in their own container. And then after that, if you see the tractor trailer in the back, that is loaded up and it is taken to a facility in Cincinnati where about a high percentage of it is recycled into new products, and in some of it is used in waste to energy functions. As well as the loaner truck update. The loaner trucks are scheduled through December, middle of December already through. So if you're looking to do your spring cleanup, we go ahead and take reservations for the end of December as well as next year. So everything's moving smooth. Very good.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
I got one more notion. I'll give you a little animal shelter information. Last week, Chris Israel and I, he trained me up to start putting our animals on the website, as well as posting that on Facebook as well. I'd just like to announce that's gone over well. 3 of the 4 animals that were adopted on Saturday, I asked the individuals, and they had seen the advertising on the website for those animals. So that's a great step in modernizing our actions there at the animal shelter, getting it up to speed and modernized, and getting those animals up to good homes.
Have you had any contact with the Humane Society at all?
Yes, we've been working with the Humane Society. I've been working with the president, Eve Seacrest, getting to know how that organization works as well, and developing relationships with humane societies, that being ours here in Richmond, the one in Lexington, as well as other dog rescue groups and other rescue groups for cat rescue groups around the state. So I've reached out to several organizations. The city of Lexington was great and gave me listings of a lot of people that we can work with for the animals.
I appreciate that, Scott, and I think that will be a big benefit to you and your staff down the line.
Indeed, sure will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Comments from magistrates? Tom?
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, Judge, because I've been accused of taking up everybody's good stuff to talk about, so I just have 2 things that I'd like to say. The very first one's for Mr. Bryant. He's been helping us out at a place where there's been a diesel leak over some period of time, actually going back to 2010. And has been staying on top of that. It's actually working with the state and the EPA. They had an inspector out there about a week ago that come out, took pictures, and found some things, and staying on top of that. So I appreciate your work with that, Mr. Bryant. And the second one I'd like to just tell everybody about is on this coming Saturday on 9/12 from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. out at the Wilgering Lake. There's going to be a bass tournament out there for Toys for Tots. And it's a $60 entry fee per team. They're going to have a cookout that'll start at 4:30. If you can get you a free hamburger while you're at it. And if you need any more information about that, you can call Mr. George Powell. His telephone number is 893-4067, or you can also call out at Wilgering Lake Marina. And then just lastly, Judge, my number, if anybody needs anything, you can call me at 200-9765. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. John?
I just like to thank Scott for organizing this, all these waste product pickup to get them out of our environment, the tires and all the other wasteful products that are laying around the household. It's good programs that Scott's developed and organized and running. Willie's been working with me on some road projects we've been working on all summer. We finally got the Meadowbrook Road covered in, and some people are pleased about that, and kind of cured a safety hazard out there on the side of the road that we were concerned about. We're just continuing to improve road situations and get our blacktop underway this, I hope, real soon in some of these districts. And so if you have any calls, like Tom said, just call us, and we'll try. We talked to a gentleman last night about a cemetery problem, about the entrance into it, and we're going to look into that for him. So just give us some calls, and we'll try to help you out whenever we can.
Thanks, John. Raj?
Well, Judge had already mentioned the park opening back up, but I was out there last night right at dark, and I bet you there was still 25 people there. 4 or 5 of them walking their dogs, and by the way, they were on leashes, and that's good. Every now and then you'll see one running loose, and don't really need that. We need them on leashes. I mean, anything can happen, the dog can just accidentally knock a child down and hurt it, so you need to keep control of your animals. But didn't see any problem with anybody trying to fish, not that much water there anyway, but they were definitely using the park. There was evidently they had a reunion or something, there's 4 or 5 packing up out from under the shelter. So I think people are just tickled to death it's back open, no matter if it is limited to what they can do there. Just want to give a heads up to Chris and Ryan. I think they do a heck of a job in the IT department. There's not a department that we have that they don't touch just about probably on a daily basis, as well as helping a lot of the other government entities with their IT problems. But never have asked them to do anything yet that, sometimes they can't get right to it, but they're on top of it, do a great job for our county. Thank you.
Larry?
I have 2 or 3 things. One is, I don't know if council member Ronnie Terrell was speaking out of school, or it was reported wrong one that we raised the tax rate 4%.
That we did?
Yeah, it was in the paper.
It wasn't 4%, not at Madison County.
No, we stayed the same.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just telling what the paper said.
Yes, sir.
And Ronnie, council member, stated that, and I just want to make that clarification. I thought maybe he had a crystal ball and looked in it and seen that we'd raised it, and I haven't raised no taxes. But anyway, the other thing is, where do we stand on our blacktop? I mean, but Willie, maybe you could answer it. Are we gonna get started this month on?
Yeah, we just put our bids out Friday. We just put our advertisement out for bids. And so, can't remember, I think our goal is the next court meeting that we'll actually vote to approve whatever bids we get in. And then at that point, we'll be ready to go.
Are these bids that we're talking about now, of course, this is the gas tax that we're talking about, the $875,000, correct?
Well, it's what is in our budget in our line item for asphalt.
Was that what we had in there?
Well, we've got 700,000 in our budget for asphalt, but we were gonna take 300 from our LGEA funds, which is all our mineral tax that we get in. Because last year, it was $1 million in the budget, and even though that we were getting less money this year, I didn't want our roads to suffer, so we kept $1 million basically in there for asphalt.
This $875,000 that we talked about 2 meetings ago, is that based on the gas tax?
It's not. Well, we're putting 875,000 into resurfacing our roads, and we're leaving 125,000 in there just for pothole patching and things like that in the spring. But I don't know if it really. I mean, I guess it is somewhat comes from the gas tax.
I don't have a calculation on it, how county road aid takes.
Well, the only reason I say that is, we didn't, some did, broke it down on mileage on each district. And, I broke that down, like Roger's gonna get $78,000 more than the first district. John's gonna get $162,000 more in the third district. And Tom's gonna get $101,000 more in the fourth district than the first district. And I'm still not, and I've discussed this with you, I'm still not happy with it. And I don't think that the way that come across was correct, or should have come across. I thought it should have come before this court, but evidently it was done in the back room. Well, I mean, did you discuss it with all the masters?
I discussed it with every one of these magistrates, and if you came to meetings, it would have been discussed with you.
I told you I wouldn't be back.
And I left. You never told me that. You told Francette that.
Well, I'm telling you now.
All right. So I left that
I got it out
information
of the
in your box.
I did, that's where I got the information.
And I don't like you telling me I do backroom deals. I'm the most open and transparent person that has ever been leading this court for the last 21 years.
Okay, let me rephrase that. you did talk to each one of the masters, and you come up with this ideal, or all of you all together come up with this ideal to make it on mileage instead of dividing it by 4 like we've always done in 30-some years.
Well, I can't help how they do it. I
Well,
think
okay,
that it's,
I know
I
that.
think it's fair. Every decision that I make, I try to make it fair to each one of you all. And how is that not fair, Larry? You've got less
Because number
mileage.
one, the road tax is paid by everybody in Madison County, and the bulk of the tax is paid in the city of Berea and the city of Richmond. So you're not gonna give those people any credit.
So the biggest portion, a lot of your roads are in the city of Berea.
Not the biggest portion, but a lot of them are.
A lot of them are.
That's right.
All right.
Same with Richmond.
No, it's divided up by 3.
Well, it's divided up 2 in Berea. Tom has some.
How many do you have, Tom?
Of the city miles, I don't know by the districts themselves. The first district has 72 miles approximately. The second district has 114 miles. The third district had 159 miles. And the fourth district had 126 miles. So the fourth district and the third district, which is getting over $100,000 more, has twice the roads than the first district does.
I mean, you know, and guys, if y'all wanted to go a different route, that's perfectly fine. We can have a vote on it, but in my mind, my opinion is it's fair. It's the fairest way to do it.
Well, that's your opinion, but that's not mine. We'd already voted on this. It's never been brought before this court.
Yes.
Yeah, we voted on it.
No, we didn't. We've never. Check your records. Go back and look at your minutes. It's
Well, I
never
mean, we
been
can-
brought to
I
this
make
court.
a recommendation that we do vote
It's
on
not
it.
on the agenda. We have never voted on that.
We can put it on the agenda next
Well, you
meeting.
have to make a motion to do that. I'm gonna ask the county attorney to research the KRS, which is 61810 subsection 2, and ask for opinion on that.
Ask for an opinion.
It's
from
open meetings
The
law.
Attorney General?
Yeah.
Is that the statute that provides for the series of meetings that are used
Yes,
for
sir.
educational? I think that what the judge is doing satisfies that exception. I'll be glad to double check that, but I believe that's why they have that statute.
I'd like to have an opinion on it, please.
Now, you're probably talking years from getting an Attorney General opinion. I can probably call them and ask them for an informal opinion, but Dr. Tudor is still probably waiting on some
I'm
Attorney
sure
General's
he is.
opinions from when he asked years
Yeah.
ago. But I'll be happy to look at it, but I believe that's exactly why they have that statute, to cover just this situation.
So what's the KRS that you're asking for?
What
Does it have to do with the county roads?
No, no, no.
What's it have to do with?
Open meetings.
Open meeting.
I think his question deals with whether or not the series of meetings that are used for educational purposes are exempt from the open meetings.
The ones that I have with the masters?
That's what I believe he's talking about.
I mean,
I'm
we
talking
check.
for myself here, these gentlemen can tell you the same, or whatever they want to tell you, how they relate it to the meeting. The judge would give me his ideas of what they want to do with a certain issue, just like changing the way we do the road allotment or whatever. He doesn't ask us, how am I going to vote? What do you think, or whatever, but here's what I'm going to propose. And a lot of times I'll tell him, I think it's a pretty good idea. That don't mean I'll vote for it, I just thought it was a pretty good idea, you know, but,
Well, when I decided to have these meetings back in January, I mean, we called KCO, we called Department of Local Government, and I think here recently, we just called the Attorney General's office. Because I think you had called Francette saying you weren't gonna meet anymore, that you'd talk to the Attorney General's office. And so I called to verify, to make sure that I wasn't doing anything out of line. Because that's the last
If
thing
you don't make
I
a
want.
decision, you're not doing anything out of line. That's that simple.
Well, you've been in meetings with me. Have I made anything, have we made decisions
I
in
didn't make
those?
a decision with you when I was with you,
No.
and I would.
You know, I mean, and I know of an example when we went into executive session that I wouldn't even tell you all what it was gonna be about, because it's an executive session. All I did was said, we're gonna be in executive session.
Well, litigation
but-
personnel is the only time you can have that
But
in.
communication is the key to success, in my opinion. And I have these meetings with you all because I want you all to know what we're doing, what we're working on. I want to give you all a little bit of a heads up of what we're going to be voting on so that you can go around to the departments and you can collect information and educate yourself to make sure that you're making the right vote. And in my opinion, and the information that I've got back from DLG, KCO, we're not doing anything wrong. So when they send me something that says I'm doing something wrong, as a matter of fact, I ask other judges, when we just got back from that conference, that judges conference, I asked them, I said, do you ever meet with your magistrates one-on-one? Just give them an update of what's going on? They said, yeah, all the time. So.
If we took the $875,000 that we're talking about and split it 4 ways, we're talking about $218,000 per district. It doesn't make sense that a district that doesn't have half the roads that all the rest of them does practically has the same portion of that money. We have to take care of more roads.
Well, they're all basically the same population.
And that population drives on those miles of road.
That's correct. I think, you know, you do that every 10 years, you rezone or reclassify. Reapportionment of all the districts, and we try to keep them as equal, and they're close.
We don't try, we keep them within plus or minus 5% by statute.
And that doesn't come up for another few years.
2020.
Yeah, 2020. Okay.
Most of your roads are in pretty good shape, ain't you? You've been bragging for a long time about how good your roads are.
Well, I don't have no gravel roads, but I mean, anybody
No, I
can
didn't say
always
anything about
use.
gravel roads.
Yeah, anybody could always use blacktop. I think anybody.
I'll assure you that 11, 13 years I've been here, there's been plenty of years you've got more than me, and I don't have figures to show it, but I guarantee you, and I got a whole lot more miles. And we've talked in the past from the other judges here, this guy needs help on a particular road. Now you have to lose a little to help you. That's still not a problem with me. You know, if we got an emergency road that falls through, and we have to lose a little, we got to do it. You know, they're still in the county. But they still miles out there in other districts that, you know, that other districts don't have, that needs work.
Well, it'll be on the agenda for next meeting.
Thank you.
Comments from the audience? I need a motion and a second to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckett?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Berger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next court date's Tuesday, September 22nd, 2015 in Richmond. I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Master Buckett?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Berger?
Yes.
Master Tudor? You getting ahead of me? Judge Taylor?
Yes.